and I forget what it's called. Sorry. Um, Intentions. Yes, intentions and distractions. And for a question today, let's ask, what did you want to be when you were in third grade? What did you want to be when you grew up? Um, so I'll get started. My intentions for this call are to get through and close out the last issues for the ABC, and then talk about what we need to get done in order to have the whole hatch upgrade successful. Then, yeah. So when I was in third grade, I wanted to be an astronaut or an inventor. And so actually, working in this space kind of satisfies the inventor desire. So anyway, I will pass it to Zepti.
Oh, thanks, Bradley. When I was a child, I wanted to be a scientist, but then I just stopped. I don't know. Intentions for the call? Yeah, just to sync up with you guys, see how Common Swarm is doing, and I do not have any distraction. I'll pass it to Paulo.
Thanks, Eti. Intentions for this meeting is to sync on with everyone, share the work that I was doing today, and see what else is missing in order to deploy the Commons DAO and distractions. Well, it's kind of freezing in my house right now. It's really cold. But apart from that, anything else? And when I was a kid, I really wanted to be like the people that swim with the dolphins. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I'll pass it to Chuy.
Thank you, Paulo. So intentions for today, think, maybe find out what the whole Gnosis thing means for TEC, Common Swarm. I mean, if it's like something more complicated than the obvious. But yeah, just to be able to catch up with that. No distractions today. And when I was a kid, I was super into piano. I still love piano, but I don't practice that often. And I wanted to be a professional piano player. However, I'm very thankful in life because rather than being one, I'm finding out how to make it affordable or sustainable. So yeah, it's music is in me since I was very young, and I'll pass it to Juanca.
Thanks, Chuy. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a philosopher. I feel that I really like philosophy and that somehow what we're doing here is related to that. So I am happy about that. And my intention is, yeah, to sync with you guys. I don't have any distraction. And I'll pass to Metaverde. What did you want to do when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I remember for real. My intention is to find an issue I can do. My distraction is my own bad self, as always. And when I was in the third grade, I wanted to be a jockey. I kid you not. I still love the thoroughbred horse. Maybe not so crazy about racing anymore. And everyone told me I would be too big, and I am. And so my backup plan was to be, I am not kidding, a Major League Baseball player. But here I am. And I'm not sure who hasn't gone, Brad, so I'll pass it back to you. Oh, Griff.
Yeah, I think
Griff hasn't gone. I'm passing it to Griff.
Yeah. Man, I honestly have no idea what I wanted to be when I was a kid. I don't know if I wanted. Maybe I just wanted to be unemployed. I think eventually I wanted to be a basketball coach. Was something that I wanted to be, but not in third grade. And then, as far as intentions for the call, well, distractions. I have a bowl of soup right here, so I'm definitely going to be feasting. And intentions, man. Everyone else's ideas sound great to me. Would love to hear the latest updates on what Paulo's working on, trying to get this DAO out. And of course, the ABC market buy or sell. I can't wait to hear Sem's ideas there. And for sure, we can at least sync on like if Gnosis chain has any impact on what we're planning to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Miguel?
Miguel, yeah, thank you. You're breaking up pretty bad.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's working, man.
all right. Miguel, we'd love to hear from you. Sorry. Okay. Let's jump over
Yep.
to
I want to go as well.
what's that? Sam?
I want to go as well.
Oh, did we skip you? Let's go to Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Intentions. Finish the bonding curve. There is one last issue that remains, and I'd like to discuss it with you in order to see which is the correct answer, I guess.
Yeah.
And distractions, none. I am in the Gibet house yet. And when I was a kid, I think third grade is like when you are 8 years old, right?
About, yeah.
Oh man. I changed my mind many times, but when I was 8 years old, I was very much into Catholicism. Not anymore, but at the point, maybe I will be how is it called? Somebody who is in the church. A priest.
Or a monk.
Yeah, totally. Hopefully, I change my mind.
Hello.
Okay. Oh.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, you can hear me now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I want to watch cars. I love to watch my dad and my mom's car all day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but now I don't really like it.
Fair enough. Any intentions or distractions for the call today?
No. I'm new here. I'm just learning.
Okay. Excellent. Well, welcome, Miguel. All right. Let's start with something maybe a little easier first. So maybe we talk about Gnosis chain. Yeah.
I have an inside scoop here. So
Perfect.
I actually haven't read what the forum post said that Chewy sent me, so I'm not sure. But I saw it in Google Doc form, which is cool. Basically, I don't think it will have any impact on what we're doing. I don't think it'll have any impact on the XDAI token or wrapped XDAI. It will have an impact on stake tokens. I believe that they're going to do some kind of like turn in. You have to convert your stake to Gnosis tokens. And I was begging them not to put a time. They were, at least at first, when I saw the draft, they were saying that it was going to be like a time thing. that you have to do it within a year. I don't know if that's still the case or not. I beg them not to. Make it just like you convert it whenever you want, forever. But yeah, so that's one thing. And then I think it will. What's interesting is that they're making a push for the Ethereum 2 roadmap, and this idea that XDAI will be a canary chain. And I'm really excited about that idea. This is what Kusama did for Polkadot, where it's like first you do all the upgrades on a testnet, and then you do the upgrades on a lower, like less market cap chain, and then you go to the Ethereum mainnet, and so, but with the real money chain, you can test the economic viability of some of the choices that you made. So, like, if people can find a way to hack it, then they'll hack it when there's money at stake. And what's also cool is that means that I think it'll make XDAI a lot more valuable to people, because you'll want to first make sure your app works on XDAI with the new Ethereum 2 upgrades before pushing it to Ethereum. So it's like all of a sudden XDAI becomes the bleeding edge of Ethereum development. So my understanding is that XDAI will be the same XDAI for a long time. The only change that will happen is that we'll have to, if you have stake tokens, you'll want to switch them for Gnosis tokens. And then if you have, but then there will be a beacon chain, and that beacon chain will be like the Ethereum 2 beacon chain, and eventually there will be an upgrade to make an merger of the beacon chain with the current XDAI network, which will be Gnosis chain, and then it will continue to evolve, following the Ethereum 2 roadmap.
Excellent.
I didn't read the blog post though, so tell me if they changed things, or if I'm missing something, or something that is specifically Chewy, something that you're worried about.
I mean, not regarding like any like functional stuff. It's just some of the details in the proposal that some people in the community have been thinking that it's like uneven in some way. Yeah, but like regarding like the proposal details, I don't think that there's anything like related or that it may affect directly everything that is happening, which is why I also wanted to bring this topic up, because I might learn something from it. But yeah, so far it looks interesting, and yeah, they mentioned some of the communities that we're close to in their proposals. So it's interesting that some of these are gaining major exposure because of this. So it might actually be a great momentum for the Commons upgrade. But yeah, who knows? It's still a proposal. So hopefully it can come together in a nice way.
Do we need to assign someone from Commons Swarm or Commons Stack overall to just keep an eye on the progress as they move from proposal to deploy execution?
I mean, I'm definitely going to be following it either way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm following the London fork part. I was into that. That's supposed to happen on November 11th. And yeah, I feel that I'll be aware of some other stuff as well. So yeah, if there's anything relevant to the Commons Swarm, I'll bring it up.
Fantastic. All right. Sounds good. All right, so that's one thing off the list. Maybe we go to what Paulo is working on and what he wants to discuss. And we'll save the best for last.
Sure. So last week I didn't have time to actually work on anything. I was on and like an immersion course that
Right. Yeah.
basically lasts the whole week. So didn't have time to actually, not even to open Discord. So yeah, I started working today. I actually talked with Sam in the afternoon to see the progress and how are we were going regarding the ABC and the Commons upgrade, and basically start to work on the testing to test like the migration part specifically, like the migration regarding passing all the tokens from the hatch to the gardens DAO. So specific on XI basically. So I spent basically most of the day setting up everything because the hard hat configuration that we had on the common subgrade was a bit outdated, and I had some problems regarding like the blockchain forks. So spent some time on solving that. I also discussed with Sam that the best approach was to basically create a gardens on XDAI that later will be updated, like had some initial garden that we can work on the local test, on the local blockchain test, I mean. So I also spent some time looking at the latest updates on the gardens side, because they changed a lot of the scripts that I was working a few months ago. So I also was like catching up with everything there. So, but anyway, I'm basically ready to start testing the actual migration. I still have to create the gardens to start working on that, but yeah, that basically was my latest work today. I hope that for tomorrow I can have like the proper unit testing to see that the token transfers are made correctly, that we're not leaving behind any tokens, and that the gardens agents will receive the money and all that. Anyway, that's everything on my side for now. And yeah, that will be all.
So basically, we are going to deploy a gardens that is going to be like the next TC garden, and then we do the tests on the things that TC has to do, but not tests on the things that we can change at any moment. If they break, we just create a new DAO and we go on. But the most important thing is the things that we cannot afford to fail, such as moving the funds and not checking that everything goes fine. So the tests on the fork are going to be focused on this vote that migrates the funds and the token, opens the bonding curve and everything.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The other thing that we have is that the bonding curve is still, we still have one open issue, so we have to finish that one and we have to deploy it, because it is changing some things. We also have to upgrade the front end for it and the commons upgrade, because the permissions are different now. They are very little changes. It doesn't make, it is not going to be a lot of things, but still it's important. It's a kind of blocker. We cannot have the commons upgrade we cannot write the final common subgrade until we have the bonding curve deployed. So this is something that I have been trying to finish. It's not finished. Basically, what is going on is that the last issue in which we have the order of burning the tokens before or after doing the calculations. Actually, Paulo did pull request that looks very good because it changes it and also the tests in order to make it work again. But right now, I don't know. I am like Shokai 99% or 90% sure that this is the way to go. Paulo is as well, right, Paulo? And
Yeah.
still, the two options have passing tests. And how do you know which is the one that? How you make sure that this total supply less the amount is not the way to go? I can share the screen if you want.
Yeah, because basically, the change that I did was the one that Sokai suggested. That was like making calling the Bancor formula with the total supply, like the original total supply before, like subtracting the amount of tokens that you wanted to sell. Because like the way that it was working right now, it was like you burn the tokens first and then you do the Bancor formula calculations, like using the updated total supply. So like you found out that both ways were working, right? Like when you do a buy order and then a sell order, like the resulting total supply was 0 in both cases. So that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing that when I think that it's here. When we are testing. Sorry, I don't know what now. What is it? Maybe it's here. It is testing that everything. If you buy and then sell, it goes to 0. Wait a sec. Here. It tests that the balance after is 0. It tests that the total supply after is 0. So these two conditions hold. And in order to hold in both cases, what it does is right now we are subtracting the amount from the total supply before doing the calculation in here and in here, and removing the sub, which is something that is this subtraction here is not in the formula. So this is why we are more confident that this should not be here. And then it works if this change of order is operating. But still, why removing the amount here makes it work, makes the test work? And I don't want to leave that 1% of being that the economic engine of the DAO. This is not. It's important to have that very clear.
Could we do like a couple buys and a couple sells intermixed? I assume it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't change, but
it doesn't change because it goes to 0 anyway. So buying and selling the same amount.
Well, there's also the if you're buying and then selling a little and then buying more and then selling a little, there's probably no change that could happen under that kind of scenario. I mean, I'm surprised it went to 0 because I would have thought there would be rounding errors.
No, it goes. What do you think, Paulo? Have you had the chance to, when you were writing this pull request, did you have the chance to think why it was going to work? One of the things that I don't really understand is why are we calling this this function here? Because it's checking with the sale return function that it's at the same time an internal function that is calling the formula of the bonding curve directly.
Yeah,
This
I mean, those functions are the ones that you need to in order to compare the actual sale with the expected one. So that's why I remove both amount subtractions from the supply that you pass to the Bancor formula. I still don't know. I thought that when you try to do the sale using using the previous ABC contract, the one that burn the tokens first and then do the sale calculation. I thought that that case was going to give something different than 0, you know. But I still don't know why both cases
are giving this result, right? I mean, yeah. I thought that it was going to be the bulletproof test, and it is not. So this is why we have to take it very carefully.
Yeah, I will have to take a deeper look into it because I was hoping that the first case was going to give a remanent or an amount of tokens on the total supply. But I still have to take a look at it.
And these changes on subtracting the amount here in the total supply, it does not actually affect anything. I mean, if we were not doing
yes,
this check,
yes, it does, because those are like the parameters that you pass to the Bancor formula. So, you know.
What I am referring to is that you are doing a make by order here.
Yeah.
Of a certain amount that you hard code here.
Yeah, I removed the random number.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's good. You have here this amount, the random amount or this specific amount. You do the by order, and then when you sell it, you take the tokens of your balance. And this token balance before is directly your balance. It is not going through the expected sale return for amount that we are modifying. So even if we were not modifying it, we will still get the same balance before that we are doing the make order, the make sell order. And this goes to 0. This goes to the expected value. So both things are working, and it's like, should both things work? Maybe we can find other amounts in which it would not work. As Griff is saying, maybe if we, instead of going to 0, we start from a specific point, buy and then sell, what will happen then?
Like sell a lesser amount than the original buy. Like for example,
Yeah.
if you buy 10, you sell 7. I don't know, and see if it gives you the proper.
The important thing is to break it before fixing it.
Yeah.
We,
I would say make a couple buys and a couple sells and then try to zero it out and see if there's like some kind of weird interplay. If you're just making one buy and then one sell, maybe it's not complicated enough.
yeah. It is very weird, really. I mean,
Yeah. Because the way it was working on the batch ABC was like when you do a sell, they like catch the total supply, like the way as Sokai was mentioning on the notes. So that's why it doesn't matter if you burn after or before, because you have like a catch value that you use for calculating the sale return using the Bancor formula. So that's why I'm still a bit impressed that it was working both ways. But anyway, we have to take a deeper look into it and test with different cases.
Yeah.
That's why I was testing the migration first, because the idea was to test like the migration using an already Commons Gardens DAO instead of Gardens DAO. But until we have this issue solved, I think it's best to use a normal Gardens to check the migration, and then we do the test for the already updated Commons DAO.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, these are the state of the things at the moment.
Well, do we need to test the migrations until we get this sorted out? Or
they are two different things.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we still have to prioritize one over the other, right? Or is one person going to work on one thing and the other person work on another thing?
One is blocking the other. So
Yeah.
what Paulo is doing is do the migration without the bonding curve, just in order to advance the migration. Then we add the bonding curve. I mean, no. When we have the bonding curve, we add the bonding curve to the migration script, let's say. It's better this way. It's just because we also have to check out that we can test the boat in which we are migrating and do some checks that everything is working.
Yeah.
The money is there and everything. So this, because this is taking a little bit of time. Then adding first doing it for the garden and then doing it for the upgraded garden, it will be better this way than waiting until we have the bonding curve ready and doing it after that.
Well,
it is a way to divide the work.
Totally. But is there, I guess my question is, who's going to be doing the migration and who's going to be writing the more tests for the ABC?
I am finishing this. Well, actually, I think that both Paulo and me could be looking at this at the same time because of the weirdness of it.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, which is why it's like, well, if both of you are just going to work on this until you solve it, then like, I don't think we need to make more progress on the migration stuff until this is solved, right?
Yeah, the original idea was to divide the work, but I wasn't expecting that maybe it was that weird. the problem.
Yeah, I was hoping
because it's a bit complex. We both can take a look at it in order to finish it faster.
To understand it very well, because it's
to not be to not make a change without knowing very well how is it working underneath, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can take a look the both. We can take a look
Sounds good.
At the APC.
I'll poke a little bit at the contract on the plane tonight too. See if I can do the multiple sell and buy thing. See how that works.
Okay, and check it out. There is also the. Some time ago, I sent some slides with the formulas on the Bancor.
Yeah.
So maybe that also helps. Using the what I'm going to do is using those formulas to have to do the calculations by hand and then see why it is giving 0 in both cases. Right, and
Gotcha.
I think that now it's also some. I think that one of the things is also going to be to demonstrate mathematically why is it going on and when it fails, based on the formulas. And that's it. I think.
Okay.
We do not have so much more to share today.
Any updates from? Well, maybe is there anything else on this bonding curve topic? All the other issues are solved and
Yes,
addressed.
that's great. I mean, yeah, there were a lot, and yeah, this is the only one issue. The other ones are. There is one that I'd like to ask Shokai when we finish everything. That I'm not sure what I am not sure that what I was doing was right. It works, and it works quite well. The change is not making the code ugly or anything, but we are removing an S store operation, but we are adding a delegate call. So I just wanted to know if he was thinking on that or not. He was suggesting to remove the S store operation. And this is the only issue that I am not sure about if it is better now than it was before. The rest are quite good. That's okay. Look, I mean, the code right now it has less lines. It is simpler and better.
The idea of that issue was like basically to improve performance, but it wasn't. There was like anything wrong or something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of issues that were in order to improve the quality of the code, which is good. Also, there are some changes in order to install the bonding curve. They are important. There is right now a manage collateral token. So there were 3 permissions: add collateral token, remove collateral token, and update. That now they are just one: manage collateral token. So in order to install the bonding curve, it's important to have into account in the commons upgrade, let's say.
Yeah, we have to update the commons operator script, you mean? Like remove those permissions and add the manage collateral one.
Yes. And then the other thing that may be important is in relation to the DSC convert, the front end of the DSC of the bonding curve is it will affect the way that the amount is calculated. So changing that we will have to change the front end as well. These are the two things that are important in order to have the new contract working. Update the frontend and update the commons upgrade. But yeah, I think it's everything. And I don't know if you had something in the mind to talk about a part of that.
Well, there's the gardens front end. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know that Fabri has been working on that. I think that it's not yet ready, but because he was working on that and different other issues at the same time in order to have an upgraded front end for everything. But I mean, some screenshots or something about this change. It's
Maybe lost Sam.
Sam, are you there? We can't hear you.
yes.
Oh,
Where did I cut?
Some screenshots or something like that.
Okay, yeah, it's something that is happening. I have seen some screenshots on the on showing the symbols on the common pool tokens. So this is what Fabri is already working on that. I think that when it's ready, it might require some feedback at some point, some review. Maybe he doesn't give us exactly what we wanted, so maybe we have to ask again. But it's something that it's already taken care of.
But it's blocking the demo as well, right?
Yes, but it's going to be different. The most important thing for me is to have the tests, the programmatic tests, that everything is in the place and exactly the exact amount, let's say, right? And then we can have this demo is going to be a little bit tricky because it means that we will have to do it on I will not think on the demo yet. I just want to have the thing ready, and when we I don't know how much value is going to provide to have a demo before the real thing.
I think we would want to do some user testing, and just get to understand if there's any ways we can mitigate user experience issues and
yeah, totally. The thing is that maybe what we can do with the user testing is when we already have the funds migrated to the new place. If it's user testing with the front end or with the with the front end with the bonding curve or the or the conviction voting or whatever, I think that they are separated things. One is that there is not user testing with the contracts. It's if a contract is working, it's working. And then the issues that can rise with the front end, they can be fixed once the funds are in the new DAO. It will be a little bit weird because
yeah, I mean, I don't think that's just not how that seems kind of like not ideal, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's that it's taking forever. it's it's taking forever. It's like we want to do it when I was talking that with Paulo today. If we are doing one car is different than doing a factory that makes cars. So having a car that is working perfectly, it's just okay. Let's do one car, right? If we are going to do two cars, maybe then it's better to do the factory that creates many cars. But creating this factory is going to take, I don't know, it's not only time, but it's all the work that it's going to take for us. And we were thinking on just doing the prototype that is working for TSC.
But I mean, when you deploy it, aren't you using scripts to deploy it so that it's like
the idea that we are having is to have a garden that is going to be the final garden. We just instantiate it. We upgrade it through a boat, and this boat we can do as many boats as we want in order to change any property of this garden. If we decide that the duration time of the boats should be less or more or whatever, then we change it, and it's going to be the final garden. Let's say it's like
so you're gonna deploy a garden on XDie, and then we'll use it to do testing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we'll actually just leave that. Also, we'll just reconfigure it for the actual.
Yeah. And the only thing that is going to be weird is that we will not have real user testing for this particular combination, but the gardens are already tested with, I mean, we are using them every day. And the bonding curve is not there yet.
Can we do the best of both worlds and we upgrade it with the bonding curve and maybe we just mint. Man, I don't know. It still sounds really risky for a $1.5 million economy to not actually do a full test, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Really,
this is why, but I trust way more in the programmatic unit tests than user testing. And if the user testing is going to take so much time, I would prefer to. I think that the user testing is not going to catch everything that we can catch with doing the proper tests with the forks, right? I mean, the problem that the forks have is that they don't have the front end. That's the point. I would prefer to do the forking and testing it than doing something that is going to be on another chain or in the same chain, but at the same time not exactly the same. And at the end, there may be something that is wrong. And
I mean, can we do the best of both worlds and just have a permission to basically destroy all the tokens or burn tokens or something like that, and so that we can reset the exact same garden? Use the same garden so you don't have to deploy it and everything over and over again. But then give a DAO voting has the same permissions as SEM's address. you know, uh, for like, you know, the testing period, and then we just, you know, when testing's and we actually mint TC tokens, and we even have the same token address, and all those things are sorted and known, and we're playing, but everyone knows this is like, it'd be kind of weird. It's the real TEC token, but it's also the SEM TEC token that SEM has the power
Yeah,
to destroy all the tokens or something,
mean-
and then we do it for real.
There's a third option where basically is connecting the local fork blockchain with a front end. So we could like do a demo using the fork blockchain instead, but I don't know how much time we will take to connect a front end with that local blockchain. So, but that's another option, maybe to take into account, but I'm not sure.
I will cut it in prioritize the having the commons upgrade ready for prime time. I think that the first things to do is having it done. The second is having it very tested in the fork, and the third is if we have time and there is a very good reason for that. I mean, I think that there are some things that could have a good reason to test, but the tests are already there. If you go to rinkevi.convert.tcommons.org, you can already test the front end of the bonding curve, and it's using the old contract, but we can change it when we have the new contract. And I will say that doing the entire test with fake tokens and everything, no, it's going to be like weeks.
What do you mean weeks?
Yeah, can we just create a window in which we will do the test and tell everyone
No,
do it now or else?
we are already. I mean, this kind of estimations doesn't work.
No, it's not about estimation. It's just more like we only do the test for 48 hours, you know?
Yeah. This is my sense of humor. Sorry, not intimidation.
What the point is, what are we exactly trying to test with the community?
I mean,
Which
it's
is
not just with the community. I mean, it's also with us, right? Like, we can make sure that the permissions are correct. We can try to we can try to, you know, make some proposals, use DAO voting to change entry tributes. You know, we can try to do things that we would want to try to do and see if they work.
we can do all of them programmatically.
But will we come up with all of these tests on our own? You know, like that the nice thing about opening it up to, you know, the 30, 40 people that are really engaged and you know, think this is theirs, like they'll test and try the things that they want to do, and maybe it's something that they should be able to do but they can't, and we didn't think to test for it. It's about the unknowns, you know.
Yeah, but it's not like it's an open. It's not an open universe. Let's say it's what you can do in a DAO. It's not going to be that different. So with enough testing, it's going to be okay. And still, we can. It's open to the to the community. There is no front end, by the way, for changing the support or any kind of anything like this. Yeah, we can do that with programming them, but it's not something that is available in the front end.
Yeah, and that will be. I thought.
I really want to do this test with the changing, creating new boats, changing things, and see if everything is working. This is why I want to do them programmatically, because it's the way we can check
Yeah.
everything is working.
Yeah.
So maybe here's maybe the delta between what you two are talking about. So user testing is a great way to find like just random stuff that we could not predict as developers that might break things. But most user testing I've seen still winds up following a script very similar to the unit testing that Sam is talking about. So like maybe we write down the cases that we want. Maybe I'll do this. This will be a good thing for me to do. Although I'll need some help putting it together because I don't fully understand the entire flow. But if I can get some help, I can put together a test case list of what the user experience path end to end should be. And on that list, I can make 2 columns. One will be like unit test coverage. The second column will be like front end / user test coverage, right? And then having that like test case script will help both guide requirements for what unit tests we want to write out, as well as help our community with testing efficiently and quickly. And then we can just maybe have like 3 to 5 different people run through those user test cases and just report back anything that they find that's out of the ordinary in that path.
I think that these cases are very good to start with, and we can open these cases for the community to say, okay, what happens when I do something or something else, or
Yeah.
and we can write tests for them.
Yeah. This is how we approach like when we're trying to test the Hulu apps on a bunch of different devices, like mobile and living room devices. Like we would write test cases out like this. So I think this will help us get some more confidence around our test battery as we move toward deploy.
And what Paulo was saying about using a front end that is connecting to your fork, I think that it's a good idea.
I still think that's the best idea of all, actually. If you want to have
it's not going to be for everyone. I mean, you will need to have a fork of the blockchain in your computer, and set up the. I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe MetaMask can make it. You can connect to the endpoint.
I was thinking about taking a look at the scaffolded, how they do it, because you can like test your local blockchain using a frontend. So maybe we could get some inspiration from that.
What frontend do you want to test?
Hello, Gabi.
Hey, Gabi.
Hey guys.
Is there any way we can have one test chain that people can connect to that's remote instead of having to make people pull it locally?
Maybe we can have a container with a local node running, but not sure.
That'd be huge.